have a president who really is from the people, who says, he looks at like, you know, here's 8 folders of stuff to read. I'm like, I don't think so. Give me the Cliff Notes.
Yeah.
Like, I'll play it from the hip. Like, no.
I'm going to watch Fox and Friends. You tell me what I need to know.
Yeah, and, you know, it's not for me to sit and rip on the guy because he's not here to defend himself. But never in my life have I ever watched an American president and thought to myself, I could have done better in that situation. And there's presidents I've had nothing but disagreement with, but they were way better for the job than I ever could be. I look at this guy and go like, man, you just got played. And there's something, when I knew I was going to be talking to you, there's a thing I was thinking about. Because I heard you speak many years ago about these politicians are gangster. You said like, okay, what that guy did, that's gangsta. And what this guy just did, straight up gangsta. It was during the Bush administration. You were just, I think it was like Halliburton, all these people, the Cheney world. And you're like, that's a gangster move. That's a gangster move. I'm like, I can't disagree with anything he just said. And on that kind of level, I think what I never hear is that Donald Trump is a guy who gets consistently played, got rolled by his wife, a woman I have nothing against, but she comes from a really tough part of the world. Slovenia, that's just a rough patch of real estate. She's smart and she's tough, and she got out. Got to America, well, he's not much on looks, but it's a way in from the storm. So he got played by his wife. He got played by Paul Manafort. He got played by Kim Jong-un. He got played like Jimi Hendrix at Monterey, that particular Stratocaster by Vladimir Putin, and gets played like Rachmaninoff every single day. And anyone he does high stakes business with or negotiations, he gets played. And Manafort just used him to try and, you know, get out of debt. And all these other people, they just roll all over him. And unfortunately, his hubris is such. He's like, ha-ha. Like, no, dude, you just got blown out. And like everyone around you is playing you.
Well, he probably doesn't feel that way with Manafort because Manafort's on trial and he's not yet.
Right, but Manafort played him. Because Manafort really does play in that world of oligarchs and millions of dollars and laundering money. If he wrote a book, I was telling someone the other day, as of all these people, he should write the book because it would be a page turner. If he told the truth, it would get him killed. He'd touch the wrong doorknob and he'd get the poison. Because like Putin can't have him telling what he knows. He's a man, he probably will go to prison. Watch him have some kind of strange accident. Like he was liquefied in the shower, something about the water, because he knows a lot, and there's a lot of people who can pay a lot of money to keep his mouth shut.
Yeah, well, you know what's fascinating to me is that over the last year or two, especially from the Fox crew, you're seeing Vladimir Putin admired.
Yep.
It's very strange. I never thought we would see that.
I was watching something a couple of years ago, about a year ago, and I was like, some guy, well, he's a good Christian man and he believes in family. I'm like, he's the butcher of Chechnya.
Yeah.
Let's flash back to the 1960s. I'm a young boy on the weekend visit with my father. To the right of my father is a wall. There's nothing to the right of my father, just nothing. And if he's still with us, he'd be in his 90s and hard as a rock, just like nothing. He's a bar of hickory. Anyway, he's an economist. He's a numbers guy and a PhD, real smart. I'm coming home to my mom's apartment from the Saturday, Sunday visit with Dad. We're in the Washington, D.C. area. I'm a little boy, 5 years old, somewhere around there, very small. Economist and communist. I don't know what either of them are, arguably, to a 5-year-old. Kind of sounds the same. I'm in the big Buick station wagon to my father's right. We're pulling up to Mom's apartment. Henry, Dad, are you a communist? I don't think my father's facial expression changed. His right hand came off the wheel and his backhand collided with my head. It was just like, I hear the word communist, a boy gets smacked. And it was without hatred or violence. It was like national security. Like, whack! He didn't even know he did it. It was like a sneeze. like kapow. And it hurt so much my head went numb. And it was not even the pain. It was like the shock of your dad whacking you with you had no idea what you did. And all I could do was hyperventilate. And he opened the door and he let me out. He didn't say a word.
He didn't tell you that there's a difference between a communist and an economist?
No, sir. So I left the guy till I was like 33.
What the fuck?
You know what I mean? Because it's so destabilizing. Like your dad just walloped you, and I get out of the elevator, I go into the apartment, Mom, but I did that till I was like, till 2 years ago. It was totally, and she said, honey, what happened? I said, I asked Dad if he was a communist. She's like, okay. So the point I'm making is this. There's a bunch of people who voted for Trump where you say Russia, they say bunch of sons of bitches, trust them as far as you can throw your car. Are you kidding? And when I see staunch conservative Republicans going, well, that Putin guy, I'm like, are you kidding? People like my dad's heads are exploding. He's an old Cold War guy. We would watch Boris and Natasha, whatever that cartoon was.
Bullwinkle.
As a kid, I'm laughing because the guy went, My dad's laughing on a whole other level because it's Cold War funnies. It was written for the parents.
Right.
So the kids get the cartoon. The parents got the jokes. That was for adults with their kids on Saturday. You watch them later on, you're like, oh, this is Cold War humor. I wouldn't have known. That's my dad's world. You say Russia, he'd probably hate my guts because I've been there 6 times for shows. And to take the Trans-Siberian Express. And so this warming up to a guy who is a true bad guy, he's scary. There's bodies buried because of him.
He's one of the scariest guys on the planet.
And capably violent and will have you taken out. I mean, like Anna Politkovskaya, one of the greatest journalists of our time. She was critical of Putin and she got assassinated in her apartment building. Her books are great. Her books from Chechnya are amazing. And like she was critical of him and she had to go. And when you see our president cozying up to this guy, I just want to go, bro, let's talk. Like, let's take a walk in the garden for 20 minutes. You can't be friends with this guy. My theory is there's some kind of finances where he's got to stick up for him. I don't think it's a tape of people urinating on anyone. I think it's just money.
That would be too cliche.
Too interesting. It's a money thing. It's a hotel deal. It's money sitting in Cyprus. It's something. But the fact that we're becoming okay with this guy, that is the part that bugs me the most. And why people in Congress, or a guy like Sean Hannity, who like probably likes communists as much as my dad, even me, I don't trust people like that at all. Putin is a criminal. Should be in jail for 1 billion years. And the fact, like, hey, he's a
he's Trump, a strong leader.
He's a human being. We can talk. Like, God, he's an ex-KGB guy who.
And there's no such thing as an ex-KGB guy.
Right. Yeah.
They're KGB for life.
Yeah, for life. And he's a supreme operative. And what he does is he rolls people like you, dude. And like, God, you are a guppy. He's a shark. Like, no, 2 guys hanging out. No, 1 guy getting played and 1 guy playing someone.
I think he admires the fact that Putin's able to run his country the way he does, too.
Yes, and that's why he likes Duterte and Un. And I've been to...
That's what he said about Un. He said he's a strong head.
And I've been to all those countries. I've been to the Philippines. I've been to North Korea. They're tough places to live. And, like, you don't want your country looking like those places. You don't want America to be like Russia. The economy is destroyed. And there's a lot of people, like in the wintertime, it's really tough.
How do you think this plays out? Do you think he goes to jail?
No. No, because I don't believe in karma. Karma. Here's my 2 words that disprove karma. Dick Cheney.
Yeah, he's got a new heart.
And a new heart. He has no pulse, which is perfect.
Well, he's got a pulse now with the new heart.
Okay, because
the machine, he had
I knew
no
he had
pulse.
the machine, and he just heard a whoosh.
Yeah,
which is like what's perfect for him.
Yeah,
like,
it's in the Bible.
He may very well live because he looks like he's watching his weight now. He's like looking lean. He might live to be like 105. And so he'll never go to jail. And like, how many millions does he make a year just from his dividends from whatever? Like, who knows what you do with that kind of money? Right. I don't know what you do with it. And so I don't think he goes to jail. I don't think Jared Kushner goes to jail. I think at most they leave like maybe next year, and they go like, I drained the swamp, I did what I came here to do, and the fake news media brought me down, and all his people buy one of everything he makes forever. Steak, vodka.
I think it's possible that Donald Trump Jr. goes to jail. It's very possible. They're talking about perjury charges against him now because his own dad admitted on Twitter.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I follow all that stuff as you do.
Yeah.
I just don't think white-collar guys go to prison for stuff. I just don't believe it. You know, I just don't believe it. I want to be proven wrong, but I don't have all the facts. I'm a news watcher. I know nothing. I don't get any classified briefs. So I only know what I read and what I hear.
Do you talk about any of this stuff in your stage act?
A little bit, but knowing my audience, they're very sharp and they read. They're readers, and they don't need me repeating what they know back to them.
Right.
And so,
well, good for you for that.
if I make a point, as my dad used to say, you want to score, hit them where they ain't, the baseball idea. And so if I can make a point, like if I was on stage tonight talking about Trump, I would roll out that idea of Trump is a guy who's been played by so many people around him, and no one talks about his wife playing him. Like, there's no love in that marriage, I don't think. She saw a way out, came to New York and went, that guy.
Yeah.
Gets naked with the toad a few nights a month, a handful of Prozac, some Stoli, and a credit card and a 7-figure expense account. You can take a shower and make it go away.
Yeah.
So I think he kind of knows that, you know, she was not like, wow, what a hot guy. She's like, hey, and there's, you know, that happens a lot in this town. You'll see that, you know, the couple, and you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, Harvey Weinstein, before his wife left him, Harvey Weinstein's wife was beautiful.
Well, yeah, but you see that a lot in this town where you see the old weird dude with like the 8-year-old girlfriend. You're like, oh yeah, that's a setup. That's an agency. That's an agreement.
Yeah.
That's someone's getting a salary or an implied. You know, there's some kind of quid pro quo. There's a credit card.
Sure.
There's an expense account, or there's just a big fistful of hundreds, and just let me chew on you for the next 4 weeks. You know what I mean? Or whatever the agreement is.
Right.
And I so if I was going to say anything about Donald Trump on stage, it would be, he sucks. And I never talk about any problem on stage, and I learned this from, of all people, President Clinton. Because some of his later speeches post-presidency, I'm not a huge fan of the guy, but he's a good speaker. And he did some speeches in the UK a few years ago, and I happened to be in England when he was there, and I watched him on TV. The last part of his speech, the last 10 minutes was, here's a problem and here's 3 solutions. Here's another problem, here's 3 solutions. We're like, for $60 million, we could put internet through this thing, or we could open this waterway, or we could reconfigure this workforce to upgrade so everyone can get a paycheck. He just had logical ways forward. So what I took from that is, to my audience, don't propose a problem. Well, he sucks, thanks, good night.
Right.
Don't give him a Gordian knot unless you can go, actually, it's not a Gordian knot. Here's 3 ways to get out of this burning wreck. And so, like when Trump became elected, I was on tour. I was doing a bunch of nights in LA. And I said, okay, you have a new president and some of you are depressed. I said, I know. And so gay people are on the endangered species list as if they've never been. Brown people, black people, women people, people with ovaries. These are all on the you're screwed list. So instead of becoming depressed and oh no, we get up, we start doing more benefits. Now all your words matter, your actions matter. How you stick up for your LGBT friends really matters now. How you stick up for women, how you stick up for racial equality in the workplace, like how you check yourself when you voulez-vous with other people. Words matter, actions matter more than ever. And so to me, it's an exciting time to show how great you can be, because now it's all on the line. The fat is off the land. We're being tested. I love a test, so let's get it on. It's like in your line of work when the guy goes, here we go. Yeah. That's how I saw it. Like, okay, let's get the money to the ACLU. Let's get some money to Planned Parenthood. Let's get a conversation going about child suicide, intimidation through Facebook. Let's start making things better, because this guy is not our ally. Government's not necessarily going to help. At its best, it's inactive. At its worst, it's divisive and predatory. So let's be the antidote by being cool, by not throwing rocks through windows or like you getting a guy with a tiki torch and beating him up. Come on. You're never going to convince that guy that he's wrong. So get to the people you agree with, and let's start sticking together more and raising more money and get some more interesting people in office. And let's get some young people in office. And I think that's what's happening. Like, you're seeing all these young people, like 20s, 30s. Sadly, there's a bunch of kids who died at a high school in Florida. But look what happened. Look at all those kids hitting the streets. Look at all these kids who, through cell phones and selfies and Instagram and Snapchat, they're already ready for prime time. You see these high school juniors in front of a CNN camera going, "Hi, I'm 17 years old. This happened to my school. And next year I'm going to vote. And here's what's going to happen. And here's the march I'm starting." Like, uh-oh, that's a future senator. That school shooting just birthed a voting demographic. Are you kidding? All those kids are going to vote. All of them. All those kids who marched, there's going to be no millennial apathy with those kids. They're all going to vote. I kind of have an idea what side they're going to vote with. And if you think you're going to sell those kids on their grandfather's drunken homophobia, racism, and just overall bigotry and xenophobia, you're wrong. He never had a passport. I don't need to travel. I don't want to meet some damn Mexican. Trust me, the kid's going to travel. He's going to go to India. She's going to go to Colombia and meet other people and get a more global sense of the world, a sense of water, food, energy, where it comes from, what happens with money, what happens with mediocrity, the danger of it. So I think we're in for some tough times, but I think they're going to lead to good times. And so that's, if I get political on stage, all I say is like, here's 5 ways forward. Because the despair part, you need me to tell you? You watch the news. So don't get down on the mouth. Start burning more calories. And that's not my job, but I would never weigh in on stage any other way about that stuff, because all I would be is obvious. And my audience is pretty sharp, and they don't need to be told twice.
Outstanding.
Thank you, sir.
Well said. I couldn't agree more.